Presented by Prize Picks. Get $50 in lineups when you play your first $5 and use the promo code WELCOME. Welcome to Light Years. Tommy, we're recording this live after the Santa Cruz Warriors lose to the Philadelphia 76ers. That's about all I got to say about the
game. You're not going to get any high-level analysis from the boys tonight. I mean, they missed 1,000 threes, like open threes in the second half. They actually created good shots, funny enough, but they couldn't get a rebound. It's really not much deeper than that. They were just out-talented, outmatched in every way. And that's against the Sixers team without Joel Embiid or Paul George. So that should I mean, I guess both teams are technically missing two. Max.
Bro, they got you know
what I'm getting
top
at.
10 MVP guy. Relax.
Yeah.
Totally. They got that. Steph obviously didn't play, but let's be honest. Every Warriors fan's head right now until noon on Thursday is at the trade deadline. We're 36, 39 hours, depending what time you listen to this. Could be 27 hours when you listen to this, but we're less than 48 hours away from the trade deadline. And honestly, that's probably where the focus of the content's going to go. And that's where everyone's head is right now. And it's going to the wire, Tommy. That's what I'm going to say right now. That's where I'm at with this. Let me opine for a minute here. Look, Giannis. Actually, let me ask you this: do you think Giannis gets moved? Not forget the Warriors. Just like, do you think it happens?
I think we were all about 50-50, I'd say a week ago on whether it happens. I'm definitely inching closer to 60-40, 65-35. You know, it feels more likely that he does get moved, like pretty soon here. Pretty soon, within the next 36 hours. It's weird, you know, like we started out the season already kind of with the trade deadline in the back of our mind because of the Kuminga situation. So it's been on our radar longer than I would say probably all 29 other fan bases in the league. You know, it's been on our radar since almost the summer, since we kind of like saw what direction the Kuminga thing was going. But now it feels like kind of after the Jimmy injury, like it approached very quickly. You know, it feels like it always felt far off, and now we're here. And I don't think, obviously, Giannis is the number one priority, which he has been for the last 7 years. And that includes Steph Curry on that priority list, mind you. Giannis has been a priority over Steph, even though he's never stepped foot in the home locker room at the Chase Center. That's an entirely different conversation. But it all feels like it got here really quickly after what seemed like it was going to take forever. So I don't know, man. There's a bunch of different directions we can go, but at the end of the day, I do think Giannis gets moved. I was very split on it, and maybe even leaning towards no, until maybe a couple of days ago as the momentum has picked up here.
I think so too, and I was hoping to go the other way. But I'm pretty much where you're at. I'm leaning 65% he gets moved. Like it's inching closer that way. And honestly, from a Warrior fan perspective, I hope he gets moved. I'm so sick of the Giannis story. And it's not that I don't want him in the Warriors. I'd love him in the Warriors. He's one of the best players in the league. Phenomenal. But like, it's like your boy who just cannot accept that she doesn't want him. She just needs the ring, dude. Just needs it so he can move on. Just needs it so he can move on. That's where I'm at with them. By the way, if you're watching us live on YouTube right now, can you hit like and subscribe right now? We really appreciate that. Trying to grow here.
Boys.
But it's mostly boys. But
breaking news.
Putting that aside, everyone's welcome. Just to be clear. All right, getting back to the topic. Okay, so we're down to 3 teams. I think he's gonna get moved. It seems to me, and this seems to be where everything's going, the Warriors are his 3rd favorite destination. There's been stuff that's come out in the last 24 hours that says he doesn't want to be seen as riding Steph's coattails. funny how that never happens for LeBron, who's had endless number of superstars join his teams.
Mhm.
But no, one guy goes on Steph's team, and it's just, you can't give him too much help.
It's
Anyway,
unfair.
yeah, there's no better indicator that he's the best player of this era than that statement, by the way. But anyway, putting that aside, do you buy that he doesn't want to come to the Warriors, and do you buy that's a reason? Because I have my own theory, but I'm curious yours first.
I think it's part of the reason. I don't think it's insignificant. But I think it's more Steph's going to be 38 in a month, and they're going to give up 4 picks for 4 first-round picks, for Giannis. So like he's going to the situation he's already in. Like part of the reason that Milwaukee has no flexibility is because they took some risks, and those risks didn't work out with the Dame trade, and now obviously the Miles Turner thing. But they already traded all their firsts. Like they have so few firsts free. It's hard for them to get in on any other trades. And so, if Giannis is a pretty smart guy. I think he'd realize that if Warriors have to give up all their picks, and they have an older core as it is, and none of the young guys are inspiring, it's going to be very hard to build a championship contender. Where at least the Wolves don't have a lot of picks available, but they have 25-year-old Anthony Edwards. Like you can see the path.
They also have They also have good players. So
right,
complicated to get picks, but you know how you get picks, trading good players.
Right. So they don't have to give up as much, and it was something that kind of got floated today on Twitter. If the Warriors would have taken other off ramps, maybe they wouldn't need as many first round picks to go get Giannis. If they had OG on the roster, if they had Siakam on the roster, maybe it only cost you 2 to 3 first round picks instead of 4. All these things matter, and this is why just kind of holding all your assets like they're the most valuable thing in the world until the right guy pops up. It doesn't matter if you don't have good players to trade. Like picks are valuable when they're added as sweeteners a lot of the time, for at least for this level of trade. It helps more, especially with Milwaukee's stated goal. They don't want to absolutely go in the tank because they have no reason to. They don't have their pick this year. So they want to at least be competitive, and getting a good player back would be nice to them, but the Warriors don't have any of those.
Well, and it's also one of those things where picks are useful if you have other teams' picks.
Sure.
If you're trading Giannis, there's an assumption that your picks will be less valuable because he's a good player. And unless you're betting he gets injured, which is a very glib place to be, you're assuming Giannis alone will keep that pick from being top 10. Even the Bucks, who are very depressing to watch right now, they're over 500 when Giannis plays. And if he comes back healthy, he alone would be good enough to make that pick the 11th pick in the draft, which just
sure.
That's enough so that it's sure. Can you find a Klay Thompson at 11? Yes. He was legitimately the 11th pick in the draft.
Right.
That's the point. But in general, it's not. The odds are if you're picking between 10 to 15, you're gonna be thrilled to get a Potts or a Moody. You can obviously do better than that, but usually you're trying to get a guy who can play in your rotation.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the sexy you're a college basketball guy. Everyone knows I grind tape more than anyone.
Absolutely.
I mean, when you get a pick, you're always thinking it's ooh. You see Darren Peterson? Could be Darren Peterson.
Yeah.
Could be that. And the reality is it's probably going to be the 7th pick, and you're going to have to do some really good scouting to figure out who the right pick is. But that's kind of the allure of a pick. It's you see Cooper Flagg, you see Wembanyama, you see some of these guys, you're oh, we got to get into this draft because if I get that guy, he changes my franchise, but that's one pick. It's one pick.
Anything could be in the box. It could even be a boat. It's the mystery box clip from.
But those guys aren't mystery boxes. The mystery box is
is Jonathan Kuminga,
or just thinking you have any control over the odds that you're going to get the number 1 pick to get the guy who's not a mystery box. Because that's the funniest part. I think Darren Peterson is a lock to be a superstar. I get the hamstring injury stuff. It scares people. feels like a guy who's making sure he doesn't tear something before he gets drafted. But anyway, the talent is undeniable. He feels like a can't miss talent in any capacity. Season's gonna end. All this loot, like you have no control over the lotto balls, like that. Like it's like, okay, yes, we're one of the 5 worst teams, and now we have a 15% chance of win. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's like
the Spurs weren't supposed to, get the first pick in the Wemby draft. The Mavericks had like the second worst odds to get the first pick.
Well, that was
we know we know what happened there. We know what happened there. That was a backroom deal with that one. I mean, talk about getting lucky. God, Flag is incredible. The quick sidebar here, but he's just been ridiculous lately. But the point being is like that's the number 1 overall pick, and this year's draft class is actually outstanding. But are there any other like surefire, super duper star top 10 player in the league guys in the class? Probably not. I mean, there could be. You could convince me. I could see a path where other guys in this class get there. I could see a world where it happens for Dylan Harper. I could see a world where it happens for Edgecombe or Knipple, but like at the end of the day, you don't know. Maybe those guys top out as number 3s on a really good team, maybe number 2s.
Like I feel very confident they're going to be good players who will have great careers. But like to your point, Kevin Love had a great career,
right? But he was never going to be the best player on a championship team. Okay. So the picks are valuable until they become a real player, and that's why I do think we're seeing a bit of a shift in terms of how teams are thinking. Well, they're willing to give up picks more readily than they were maybe a couple of years ago. Bane goes for 4. Memphis just moved up, or no, Utah just moved some picks, and they're a team that never moves picks for Jaren Jackson Jr. I'm not saying teams are just going to start moving picks for the sake of moving picks, but I do think there's becoming a realization like we could take a million shots in the draft, but you know what's better? Getting guys who are already good NBA players. Like that's a more surefire way to have a good team. It's getting guys who have proven themselves in the NBA, not a guy who's the 8th pick in the draft. It's going to take 3 to 4 years to even get him to a point where he's a good player that can contribute every night in the NBA.
The Jaren Jackson Jr. move actually is my biggest frustration with this Giannis sweepstake, which is, could the Warriors have gotten Jaren? Absolutely.
Hey, no money beyond 2027 though, Sam. We can't have that, and we can't trade picks. So
unless it's Giannis,
right?
Unless it's Giannis, and that's kind of where I'm, Look, they got like 36-ish hours to sort this out, but when I saw Jaren go, I'm just like, that guy was a perfect Warrior. Like I would have been perfect next to Draymond, next to Steph. Wouldn't have solved everything. The Jimmy injury, he would have been the perfect player to add to this team if Jimmy was healthy.
I know. Yeah, no, he really would have been. We talked about him in the offseason a little bit. He's somebody that we discussed when we were going through the potential Kuminga machinations. But yeah, I think you're pointing to just like missed opportunities because they're so narrow focus and one track minded on one thing.
Yeah, I mean, if I have a overarching critique of the Warriors, it's they got too successful, and I think they got lazy. I think they think they're like the Lakers, honestly, where just shit falls in your lap because you're that team. And so it's like, all right, we got to get the next guy. Who's the best player? Giannis. Oh, we're going to get Giannis. And it's like, maybe just build a team. Maybe just think about making marginal moves and stacking a team step by step instead of trying to hit a home run every time.
Yeah,
that's kind of the frustration. And when I see the Jaren Jackson move, it just reinforces all the moves they have not made over the past 5 years. Not willing to trade Kuminga for Siakam, not willing to trade Kuminga for OG Anunoby, because you want to preserve the asset. Ironically, those guys would be better assets today.
Right?
Like just continuing to move down the line, and I don't know where this lands on Thursday, but if it doesn't land somewhere well for the Warriors, I'm not even saying Giannis doesn't land somewhere positive for them, I'm going to kill him. It's like,
and they deserve it.
I've been more than patient. I've been more than generous on this sort of thing, but it's like I see someone like Jaren Jackson Jr. move for a package that I know the Warriors can meet. He's young. He's a player who can help during Steph's timeline, and he's a player who can help post Steph. And those type of things where it's like, okay, yes, he's not Giannis. He's not going to win an MVP. He's, only the 18th best player in the NBA or the 20th best player, whatever you want to call him. Like he's a number 2 on a real team, or a number 3, maybe. Honestly, he might be a number 3, honestly. Yeah. But he is a player. Like, it's very hard to find stretch bigs who are good defensively. Very hard. Especially ones who can score with volume, which he can do. Like, he's a 20-point per game scorer who can protect the rim and switch 1 through 5. No, but he boxes out a little bit. Sure. Other people get it. He's okay. I'm not gonna play that card.
No. It's about, at the end of the day, it's about team rebounding, right? But you're right. Like, it doesn't.
Pod's about to get a triple-double if they got Jaren Jackson in there. I'll tell you that.
The overarching frustrating point is that, like, you can call it lazy, or they're trying to take the easy way out. KD fell into their lap in a lot of ways. They got lucky with a once in a lifetime cap spike, and the fact that Steph was on the best contract in sports. And so now they just think like you said, they got too successful too quickly, and they just thought, this shit is easy. It's not easy. I go back to the Iguodala quote all the time when Steph went on point forward with Andre and Evan Turner, and he's essentially just saying, they just said, Joe and everybody thinks it's going to be easy to build another contender. He's like, do you know how hard this shit is? Like, it's really difficult to like build a team correctly. That's why, it's hard to win championships. There's a franchise in the NBA who have never won a championship in their entire history. So
the Grizzlies, the Grizzlies are actually the best example of this. Everyone was anointing them 3 years ago. Ooh, look at where Jaren can go, and they're going to Utah and Sacramento. Let's be real. So,
yep. Anyway, all right, let's take a quick break, and then we will hit some more stuff on the other side. Lakers podcast. We are brought to you by PrizePicks. The big game is almost here, and there's no better way to cash in during America's biggest sporting event than PrizePicks, where it always feels good to be right. And since the big game is right around the corner, that also means it's your last chance to get into the football action before next season. This week, PrizePicks has a special max discount for the big game. Live in the app now. Drake May just needs 1 passing yard for the max discount to win. That's easy, guys. You can take that. You can couple it with a couple other things. We're gonna make some money this Super Bowl. That's what we're gonna try to help everybody do before the weekend starts. Just add another player to your lineup.
Making money.
Yeah. We'll just add another player to your lineup, and if your pick hits, you cash in. Do you have anything you like for the game this weekend, Sam? Anything you're particularly looking at?
I've been feeling the mores on Sam Darnold. I'm very invested in the Darnold story right now. I'm also feeling the lesses on Drake May. I think
he is not a
little too fast. Yeah, he's played 2 snow games, so I want to give him a little grace on that one. But in general, the run has been unimpressive to me, and also the Seattle defense is dirty. Like, they are good. I think the way the Super Bowl is set up with like all the fanfare and the 2 weeks apart also really hurts a young guy who, I don't want to say skipped steps, but like he kind of got here like quicker than anyone expected. So that's where I'm at. I'm going to go with the lazy quarterback plays, but that's where I'm at with it. I think this could be a more defensive game than people expect, and
it might be a race to 20. It might be the first team to get to 20 points wins this thing. But I think it should be a good game. People are saying it might be a Seattle blowout, but I don't think I see it that way. I think the Pats are going to be incredibly well prepared. They do have a really good defense. It's not as good as Seattle's, but they do have a good defense. So it's going to be a fun one. PrizePicks is the best way to win real money all winter. Make your picks in less than 60 seconds. Turn your sports takes into money all season long on PrizePicks. So all you have to do is just download the app today and use code LIGHTYEARS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That is code LIGHTYEARS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, it's good to be right.
It is good to be right. Guys, the other thing that's good is to not be morbidly obese. So just be in shape. Look, like our friends at BodySpec, are offering the best deal in the market right now. So you want to get into shape, you want to start your fitness journey. The number one way to do it is be honest with yourself. What does that mean? You need to know what's going on under the hood of your body. So a DEXA scan. DEXA scan is the most accurate way of measuring your body's composition. So it's a little more accurate than standing on a scale. Body fat percentage, lean muscle mass, visceral fat, the things that really tell you what's going on under the hood. And what our friends at BodySpec have done has made this affordable for all. So with the code LightYears45, you can get a scan for only $45. Traditionally, these cost $300, $400, $500. Tommy once paid $2,000 for a DEXA scan. Those days are gone. Now, when you go to BodySpec, use the promo code LightYears45, you get a scan for only $45. And what's better is they got mobile vans in the Bay, mobile vans in LA. They will come to you, scan you, email you results, 15 minutes out of your day. Code LightYears45, BodySpec, start your fitness journey.
See what's going on in the comments here, Sam?
Yeah.
So for those just listening, the next morning, you listen on Spotify, Apple Pods, wherever you listen. Got Mark Forever 47 in the comment section saying, Kerr just said some guys know they're getting traded. That's why they didn't play well. That's interesting. That really is.
On top of, by the way, Slater reporting today that they're actively shopping Draymond, which the language around it was shocking to me. Like,
yeah,
I'll be honest with you. I've heard that they've considered moving him in the past, similar to with Clay. And to me, it was always kind of one of those, like, look, they're not trying to trade those guys. It was more of a, if this is what it takes to get this star player, we'll do it. And I think everyone feels like if you had to give up Clay to get Giannis in 2013, I think everyone was on board with that, And if you had to give up Draymond to get Giannis, everyone's on board with that. But the way that they're so publicly discussing that Draymond's in trades now,
it's a departure from excuse me. It's a departure from years past for sure. It's interesting.
It also lets me know that this isn't a Giannis or bust situation.
Sure.
I think this means that there's other trades that Draymond is salary, whether it's salary matching or a piece that goes into it, that is going to happen. And I think I just don't think this gets out there if he's not being utilized in like 4 different trade packages. Because, like, look, you don't need to convince Draymond that if they end up trading him for Giannis, he'll just be like, well, that sucks, but I get it. That's a 2-time MVP. That's one of the best players in the league. Like, every player understands, like, if a guy of that caliber is involved, it's like, well, that sucks, but that's the business with the salary cap, right? For them to say it this way, to me, it indicates that he's being shopped in multiple different ways and ways that are less like obvious than like, oh, Draymond's out in the Giannis package.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting, man. I think by and large, Draymond has not been very good this year. I think we've seen the cliff with him for the first time, and
it sucks because those 2 Spurs games versus Wemby, like,
I know.
That was a highlight of my season. I mean, we're like 2.5 months removed from it, just not great, but that was like, for me, such why I love these guys, which is they talked some shit and then they came out and backed it, and it was a very personal matchup for him. Mm-hmm. And to your point, though, like, as much as I love that and I want to believe that ceiling is still there, I can't lie and be like, it's been that since then. That feels more like a one-time thing than what is really capable on a consistent basis these days.
I think the ceiling is still mostly there. I just think the floor has fallen out. He's just, like, players age and they get more inconsistent. This is and a lot of former superstars will talk about this. It's not about their ability to get to their ceiling every once in a while. It's how often can you get to that ceiling. We even see it with Steph. Like Steph is still one of the 5 to 7 best players in the league, but it is much more difficult for him to hit that ceiling on a consistent basis. There are more nights where he scores 12 points than there used to be. You know what I mean? So, and that's just, it's a part of aging. And I understand. I would say most of the fan base is actually with trading Draymond right now. I can't fully get there. I understand if it isn't a package for Giannis or Siakam or AD or like, I get it. And at the end of the day, I'll be okay with it. But I can't help but, and nobody's really going to feel like this. And I get it. Draymond can be an asshole. He can be difficult. He can be really annoying. I do feel like after essentially what the franchise decided to do to him for the better part of the last 7 years, say like, hey man, at 6'5", as an aging player, go play center for 30 minutes a night for the next 5 to 6 years. And then when the time comes, we're going to ship your ass out. And this isn't some random player. This is a franchise legend. This is a guy, like Steve Kerr said, who will have his statue out front of Chase Center one day or something along those lines. You know, like he is going to be commemorated in a way that few players are commemorated by a franchise in sports. Like he has been that important to this entire run. So it feels pretty gross to me. And like, you bet your ass other stars are taking note of the way that they treated Clay on the way out and the way that they're treating Draymond. Like players don't think like fans. Like they were taking note of these things. They're taking note of the fact that as the noise grows, that the Warriors really haven't done much to build a contender around Steph in the last 6 years. These things are all noticed. And so
you think Giannis noticed it?
Fuck yeah, he did.
Because this was my my point that I didn't get to say earlier. Maybe I got distracted. It's my own issue. I don't buy that he cares as much about the legacy stuff as he looks at the Warriors and he goes, all right, it'd be fun to play with Steph for 2 years and then fucking what? You know, like I know Ant is 24. I know that runway is long. I haven't seen any genius out of the Warriors. I just see 30, you know. That's and that's like, honestly, to your point, that's how players see these things, which is I haven't really seen you guys do anything all that special. I just see Steph cleaning your asses up all the time. And I'd like to play with Steph, but also how many years does he have left? And for someone like Giannis, you can say he shouldn't care about 5 years from now, but like, dude, he can't even demand a trade. You think he wants to be doing this every 2 years? In his head, whatever happens is hopefully the only move he makes the rest of his career.
Right.
So, but yeah, to take it back to your point on Draymond, I have a hard time with it. Like, I can validate it from a basketball perspective, and if they make a move that makes the team better, I will be in favor of it. And he is no longer who he used to be. So he's no longer untouchable to me, but it does break my heart a little bit. It the same way it did with Clay at the end. And I don't think he's nearly as toxic or it's as bad as it was with Clay. Clay was just, he needed to go. He needed to go for himself.
It's best for both parties at that point. But there's a lot of reasons it got to the point that it did. You know, like I think if they had built a different style of team and Clay had gotten more open shots and they were winning more, then Clay doesn't have as many issues with like how things are going. Because at the end of the, like, Clay obviously wants his shots. We all know that. But winning cures all, especially for the guys, the original core three. Like really all they wanted to do at the end of the day was win. They didn't care how they got there. But when you're not winning and things aren't going how you want them to personally for you, that's when shit can start to get really dark, especially for guys who are former stars.
Yeah. And so I think the only thing I want to say on Draymond is this feels very real. It feels like this might be the last game we've ever seen Draymond play on the Warriors, which is surreal to say. A throwaway game with no Steph Curry where they can't fucking shoot the ball. Like it's just a garbage
that part
game.
Makes sense if Draymond's out there that they can't shoot the ball.
Yeah, I mean he's not the reason, but you know he's also not helping. So, no. But it's a surreal experience. Clearly, I'm not ready to grasp with it. Let's get to some people here. We got Will.
We got
guy Will Decker here.
Yeah. Let's get on.
What's up, fellas? How we doing?
Been better, been worse. Hanging in there.
Yeah, honestly, got a little more emotional right there than I thought I was going to. Even since nothing's actually happened, there's no reason for me to be emotional just yet. I can save the emotional sob story and like reliving the glory days for when something actually happens. But anyway, that's where my head's at right now. How you doing, Will?
I'm doing good, man. And, as bad as that game was to watch as a Warriors fan, you kind of nailed it on the head, man. This might be the last game we get to see the great Draymond Green in a Warriors jersey. And I just kind of wanted to just talk about him and, like, what he's meant to this franchise if this is the last game. Like, 9-time All-Star, or 9-time All-Defensive Team, 4-time All-Star, averaging 8.7 points a game in his career. He is one of the most unique players of all time. Like, when I think of him and just what he's meant to this run, whether for me it was the Noah Vonleh block in the 2017 playoffs, incredible. Got me going. Like that, we're trying to come back. We're trying to win the title. It's our first year with KD. We had just blown it in 2016. That's about as loud as I've seen Oracle in a long time. He's getting the crowd fired up. I mean, the game 7, I know we lost that game, but 32, 15, and 9 from Draymond.
He was the best player on the floor.
He was not going to let us lose. It was not his fault, man. Like, I love Draymond. And, he's just in that category with the Dennis Rodmans, the Meta World Pieces, the Rondos, where very few players in the history of this sport could dominate the game, not being able to score the basketball. And that's what these guys did, man. So I love Draymond. I don't think I've ever had a more love-hate relationship with a player than Draymond. I mean, sure. Nobody's won back my trust more than Draymond, too. I mean, Poole, getting suspended in 2016, the finals, the KD incident. Like, these are huge turning point moments in the history of the Warriors. But when you really break it down, if that was the last time we got to see my guy Dre, I mean, it just, like you said, Sam, it's a very emotional time to be talking about our guy. And I mean, let me pivot this to you guys. I want to hit your guys' best memories of Draymond. But do you think this is a crazy statement? I don't know if I have an opinion on it. But do you think Draymond being that kind of anchor for the positionless, starting 5, remember the death lineup back in the day? That was like the highest plus minus in basketball. Does he have enough of an impact on the game as a positionless player that can guard all 5 positions as Steph has had with the 3-point craze?
Yes.
Like, I think that's a great combo.
Whoa. And maybe not as much, but I do think one of the
close.
Yeah.
It's close. Yeah, I'm saying I don't know if I got a stance on it.
He changed the way that teams think about defense. That they try to, there's a lot of reasons that teams started to defend differently, and switching became more, became a bigger thing around the league. Teams just wanted more versatile defenders. A lot of that was actually the Warriors' offense, because the best way to guard it is just by switching and having like-sized guys who can defend multiple types of actions. But in the way it all starts with the way, that Draymond was able to run that defense. I think the best compliment you can pay Draymond, one of them, and it doesn't happen as much anymore, but there is a like 5 to 6 year period where every draft was like 2 or 3 guys. Oh, this guy could be the next Draymond Green. You know what I mean? Just like a positionless kind of forward who has some decision.
That's, by the way, that's the ultimate compliment 100%. When you are such a unicorn that people are like, ooh, this player could be the next this, and it's just like, I don't know, it's not a repeatable formula just because he's 6'6" and kind of wide and has a long wingspan. You know what I mean? Like, if that was the case, I could find a lot of football players who play D end who could be Draymond. Myles Garrett, get him out there, be Draymond. Like, that's not a thing. I also think it's so funny. Draymond's not going to get the love he deserves from a very vocal portion of the fan base.
Look at our comments
until we get a few years removed from this.
Those people don't know ball, respectfully. Like, if you can't respect what Draymond did as a defender, and listen, man, if he played the PR game and wasn't getting tossed out of every 4th or 5th game, he has 4 to 5 Defensive Player of the Year awards. I don't even care. He should have won it last year, if we're being honest, over Mobley.
He should have 4 to 5 just on merit in general. But yeah, I mean, he is the yin to Steph's yang, which is also why this is very sad if he gets traded, because your point about has he been as impactful as Steph? Like, no, but like very close, honestly, because everything Steph created on offense, Draymond is what teams tried to mirror to stop it on defense. Mm-hmm. And you could say like, oh yeah, it's just switching. It's like, well, good luck finding a guy who can process the game, organize his team, and put out every fire anywhere on the court the way he does. I promise you, if it was that easy, Guy Santos would do it. If it was that easy, 18 million guys with better physical tools than Draymond would have done it. They don't. Why? Because it's not easy. People love to think about defense as just being an effort thing. If it was just an effort thing, more guys would be great defenders. There's a million marginal talent, offensively talented basketball guys who will sell their bodies out defensively. They'll still never be Draymond Green. They never will. You know what I'm saying? So, if the Warriors do move off of him in the next 36 hours, you could sell me it's the right move depending on the package it goes in, and I can live with it. And, he's about to be 36 in a month, and I get all of that, but a little bit of me dies. Like a little bit of me is just like,
it'll hurt, bro. That's like, I mean, those are our guys, bro. This is like, I'm a Niners fan. This is like, it's Montana, Rice, Ronnie Lott. Like, this is what it is for our modern era. And to lose those guys would be massive, man. But just a couple great memories of Draymond too, like the Paul Pierce incident when he was on his retirement thing. One of the funniest clips in the history of basketball when he was chirping Paul Pierce. And I mean, he is still the greatest trash talker I've ever seen, from the Pierce incident, even last year where he's doing the fingernails to Jalen Green at the end of the game. Like, bro, Draymond is the most funny, unintentional comedy guy maybe in the history of basketball. And I mean, even the OGs respect him. I mean, like Charles Oakley's like, oh yeah, I mess with Draymond. Like, that's my guy right there. Like the OGs all kind of love Draymond because he brought that old school hard-nosed thing to basketball, bro. So Sam, I'm with you, bro. I'm bummed out. But what's not bumming me out is I'm going to be up in the Bay this weekend, and we're going to be.
Let's get it, brother.
In person. So have some fun.
You have my contact info. Hit me up. We're going to have some fun. Man. I do want to hit on this one comment, Will. Yeah, appreciate you. Have a great evening. Why are they more likely to trade Draymond than Jimmy? I actually think I do not buy that they were unwilling to trade Jimmy. I actually think this is just the reality of the market. One guy tore his ACL. We're not going to see him for another year, and he's owed a lot of money.
Yep. Yeah.
The other guy didn't tear his ACL, and he's owed less money, and he might opt out. So, it's a cruel part of the business, but it is what it is. I get it.
Yeah, it makes sense if they're actually trying to get value. With Jimmy, you're going to have to attach something, and maybe more than you would like. I mean, anytime the Warriors have to attach any pick, it's more than they would like. But I don't think it's. I mean, it's tough to say it isn't a loyalty thing in some ways, but things probably just have run thin with Draymond in a lot of ways. That they ran thin a long time ago.
It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money that Jimmy's owed when he's not playing. So if you're trying to like match up a trade, I get it. Why he's if I'm the other team, I'm like, give me Draymond, So all right, let's get Eugene up here. Eugene, what's up, brother?
What's up, boys? Looks like that League Cup jersey probably isn't coming. I think yeah, man, the communication.
We're not getting matching tats.
No, I don't think it's not stopping by my house at the door for that delivery. The communication is kind of disturbing to me because I just don't see this happening like 5 to 10 years ago. I know Draymond's old and stuff, but I think just keeping that under wraps is usually how they would function, which just shows me like I think Lake Cup's unraveling. I think the fact that he had this in his mind, right in his grasp, and it's all falling away. It's just kind of like, I don't know, there's like, this seems like KD again, like, KD was a little closer, like the deal was done. But, you might have posted this. The fact that ESPN was talking about it like we had it in the bag like 2 days ago, it was so triggering because I was like, I don't think, if Windy is saying we're going to get him, we're not getting him. There's like, it just smelled too fishy with that. So I don't know how to, whatever it be. I will pivot though. I thought about it long and hard. I'm kind of with Sam. Look, if we get Giannis, who's not going to say no to Giannis, right? But one, like after 2 years, this is worse than the Bucks. Like, why would he want to repeat this, right? And I was thinking about this too, and I'm just like, man,
Giannis B-Pod's Moody super team.
Good Lord, bro. Can you imagine? Like, this man has been through enough in Milwaukee, and he has to suffer pods as his point guard after Steph. Like, that's so much stuff. That is why I do think they won't do this, but man.
And we're not even going to get Bobby Portis. So,
that's
God.
Love crazy eyes Bob. He could replace Draymond in that department, but like, man, I wish we could jump on Jaden McDaniels somehow in this trade. Like, I thought about this more. Look, Jaden McDaniels, Trey Murphy, even Michael Porter Jr. too, in effect. Those are guys where you don't need to build the team around them. They'll be on any team and they'll function.
Mm-hmm.
I think with Giannis, do we really have that much faith that Mike and Joe are going to build a team around him with zero assets? So LeBron James, like, if we're talking about LeBron James, like, that's already showing where we're at. I would wish they go for Jaden or especially Trey, just because I think he has potential. But like, they give you, favorite word of the podcast, optionality. You're not too locked in. You can find someone after Steph that can fit in next to those guys. You don't give as many picks up. So I'm like, I don't know. I wish they would jump on it now because I really think this is an opportune time when everyone's not looking that way.
Yeah, and I do think, with younger guys like that, you just obviously they're nowhere near the level of player that Giannis is, but you have a longer runway. So, like, realistically, let's say you're trading 2026, 2028, 2030 for Trey Murphy. Which one of those picks is really going to hurt you that much? Maybe 2030. But you're assuming that this year, you're not going to be in the lottery. 2028, you're hoping Steph is still good enough, Trey's still good enough to where you're a competitive team at the very least. You might not be a title contender anymore, but that pick probably won't hurt you that much. And then, maybe you get screwed in 2030. You know what picks you still have? 2029, 2031, 2027. Like, the other picks still exist. There is a rule in place that does not allow you to trade consecutive first-round picks. Even if you throw some swaps in there, you're getting somebody else's pick. You still get a shot at this thing. So, again, I just think, and I alluded to it earlier, teams were too precious with their picks for a long time. Now it's like, all right, maybe there's a guy in the draft that could be Trey Murphy in 5 years. But you know who's Trey Murphy right now? Trey Murphy. So I think teams are wising up a little bit.
Or just like, I keep going to this one. You know what was the best trade of the last few years? Beyond the like obvious superstar ones? Portland trading 2 picks for Denny. They picked up a guy who was not an obvious star. Like, he was a good player in Washington.
Yeah.
They threw 2 picks. I kind of raised my eyebrows, like, really? You're not a Denny idea away from being a contender. What are you doing there? But they called their shot. They had conviction. They're like, I think he can be really fucking good. And now, if they put Denny on the market, they get 4 picks. 5 picks.
Minimum. Minimum.
Yeah, they get such a sweet package for him. And so that's the other part of it, which is picks are only as valuable as what you do with them. Everyone wants to be Sam Presti because he apparently never misses on picks anymore. But like, if you're going to trade him, get the right guy and make a move. If you're going to keep him, draft the right guy, So that's really what it comes down to at this point, which is just, making correct decisions in general. And so I don't know where that leaves us with what the Warriors are going to do right now, but
I mean,
that is the crux of why they are in the situation. The crux of why they're in the situation we've said it more than anyone on this. It's making the wrong picks and doubling and tripling down, not realizing the right time to sell on them. And now Kuminga is like, I'm not saying he's not an interesting player. Like, I'm sure there's a bunch of teams who are like, I'd love to take a shot on him.
Yeah,
I would also feel that way. But none of them are going to give the Warriors anything for them because they don't have to.
So. And in our experience, my last point, the CBA that we have right now, I think it forces you to favor reality over potential more than ever. Like, I think if you miss on a lottery pick with this new CBA, it is more damaging than a bad max contract. I mean, albeit a couple of contracts, in there, but like you need these rookie contracts to hit to have a team to compete. OKC, big reminder. So, and I hope they understand that like, look, I think Trey Murphy is worth 3 picks, and I think you can probably flip him for 4 in less than a season if you really want to.
Right.
So,
I mean, look at this.
Picks are recoupable.
This is a super draft. In my opinion, Tommy, I'm curious your thoughts. I think Darren Peterson is a surefire superstar.
Yep.
I think Diamanza, Cam Boozer, I'll throw Caleb Wilson in there too, are pretty solid vets to reach all-star ceiling at some point. After that, you end up with a 5th pick in this draft. Is that player really going to be better than Trey Murphy?
Probably
it's like
not.
kind of if you trade for him and you screw up and you end up sending the 1st pick to someone else, then you're like, oh no, but the odds are kind of in your favor that you're more likely to send a pick that could be good, but odds are will never be better than that player.
Right. I mean, how many guys, even in this last draft, which is a really good draft, we're already we saw VJ Edge come tonight, who's already damn good. But like outside of Cooper Flag, would you for sure bet that anybody else in the draft is going to necessarily be better than Trey Murphy? Like maybe Knipple, maybe Edgecombe, maybe, but you're not convincing yourselves they will be. Flag, that dude is going to be a superstar for a long time, barring injuries. Everybody else, it's a total crapshoot whether they're better than a guy who's probably he's already a fringe all-star. On a good team, Trey Murphy's an all-star, with the way he's played this year. So yeah, at the end of the day, it really, if the pick lands outside the top 3, you better be damn confident in your scouting that you're going to find a star level to superstar level talent.
And the most likely scenario is even if you do find that guy, it's going to be negligible to a player like Trey. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. And look, we'll see what happens. But my question I want to leave you guys with, and I'll leave it at that. Do you think Giannis gets traded before deadline tomorrow sometime?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm there.
If that's the case, I'm hoping Trey is the next one. So we'll see.
I'm happy. Finally, end this goddamn saga once and for all. I don't even really want Giannis anymore. I know that's insane. I said this on Twitter the other day. I don't even really care.
I read your tweet, Tommy, and I was first like, nah, this just this Dodger side coming out. But after a little bit, I was like, nah, I get it. But peace, boys.
Appreciate you, Eugene. All right, we're going to do one more read, and we're going to get to some more callers. Lightyear's podcast, we are brought to you by Cash App. Scammers are getting more creative to trick people into sharing their payment info through methods like fake shopping sites and giveaways that are too good to be true. When you get the Cash App card, not only do you get access to a ton of perks and benefits, you also have the extra security with power to instantly lock and unlock your card right away from your phone in just one tap. And with Security Lock, Cash App requires a successful Face ID or biometric authentication to access your account. It's like your money is protected by your own personal bodyguard, even if your phone is lost or stolen. For a limited time, new Cash App customers earn $10 if they use the code 10 or Secure10 in their profile at sign up and send $5 to a friend within 14 days. Terms apply. Cash App is a financial services platform, not a bank. Banking services provided by Cash App's bank partners, prepaid debit cards issued by Sutton Bank, member FDIC. Discounts and promotions provided by Cash App, a Block Inc. brand. Visit cash.app/legal/podcast for full disclosures.
All right, let's keep it going. Paratosh.
Hey, guys.
What's going on, Paratosh?
Yeah, I was ready to vent about the whole Giannis fiasco. I mean, I was already assuming he's not joining the Warriors, but this Draymond thing is kind of weird. It really came out of left field. I don't think we saw any chatter before today when I think Slater posted about it. And I think Eugene also mentioned it. The whole communication just seems weird. So maybe just a bit of first of all, I hate the organization for the way it's gone down. Like I have been on the trade Draymond train for like maybe 2 years now, but this is not the way I want it to go. Like he's done so many things for the franchise. Like he deserves a better send off than a last game being without Steph and Jimmy. So like it would have been better if they did it in the off season, maybe last year, or maybe they waited until the next off season. But anyway, my favorite Draymond stat is that it's not a stat really, but Jimmy is listed at 6'7", and Draymond is listed at 6'6", I think, in height. But if you ask anybody who would you rather have guarding centers or 1 through 5, no one is going to say Jimmy like they would say Draymond, and that's absolutely crazy to me. I don't think there is, like you guys said, there isn't another player, a defensive player in the history of the league maybe that you could say that about. And I'm still very salty about the 4 DPOIs that Rudy has won and just the one that Draymond has won.
Yes.
So I don't blame him for that.
No, I mean, it is a really good point, Paratosh, about, essentially Draymond, he's been a 6'5" center, but he also, in the NBA Finals, he also like guarded Jaylen Brown for large parts of that series. I understand why people are mad, like you, Paratosh. I understand your frustrations with him, but I could just never, as frustrated as I would get at times, and as many dumb things as he's done, as grating as he has been, I could never get past, like, at the end of the day, I want my team to win basketball games. And I know if you have that dude on your team in important games, he gives you a better chance to win than a lot of other guys will. And he's also just one of the most competitive guys in the history of the game. Like, obviously his defense comes down to a lot of, like, obviously there's physical ability there. Like his physical profile has always been underrated. Like 7'1", 7'2" wingspan, incredible, but like low center of gravity, speed, super light on his feet, but the processing speed as well. But part of the reason he is such a great defender is like he's just maniacal about it. Like when the biggest moments, he's willing to go to places mentally and physically that other people aren't willing to go to. And that's what defense comes down to a lot of the time when the physical abilities are somewhat similar.
Yeah, I think that one, I think Thinking Basketball had a very good video on Draymond's defense in the Celtics finals. That one peel switch between him and I want to say Looney, when I think Tatum was attacking the basket, I still lives in my head rent free. Like I can never forget that peel switch that him and Looney executed.
People that said he played bad during the 2022 finals are out of their mind. He got benched.
I think he had one bad game.
He got benched. Game 3, he was pretty bad. Game 4, he wasn't great, but his defense was still good. Game 2, he was one of their best players. Game 5, he was really, really solid. Game 6, he was their second best player. Go watch the film from Game 6. He dominates
on defense. All 6 games, he was still.
He also, it also always gets lost in Game 4. They played offense, defense in the early part of the fourth quarter.
Yep.
Yeah.
He was out there the final 3 minutes. He had the key stop to end that game.
He had the assist to Steph also. For
that was Steph's defining career game. So it's always going to be about Steph, and rightfully so. To be clear,
actually, all 3 had great moments there because Clay hit that 3-pointer over. Was that? I forgot his name, but Clay hit that. Yeah, and he was. That was, I think, we were trailing by 3 points. So then Draymond, of course, the defense and the assist over Derek White that Steph hit that 3.
Had the drop off to Looney too for the layup.
Oh that sealed the game. Yep, yeah. So, but anyway, Draymond, man, it's been a ride. I love that 3-pointer he hit over the Blazers against the Blazers in Game 4. Because like that was in overtime. I was like, are we actually going to win this game? They doubled Steph and Steph hit him on the corner, and that was a winner.
One of the most yes shooters of all time. But like it's him and Andre had the same quality. It felt like in the big moment, like Draymond might be 0 for 6.
I think high leverage moments, I'm always a yes for Draymond.
I'm like, all right, like
I'll
live with it. So look, this could have been his last game as a Warrior, and like we've said, it will suck. But
that sucks. I will understand his last game as a Warrior.
I will understand it. It'll be really
sad.
No,
I'll get that too. But the fact that it's got to this point is what sucks. Like this shouldn't have happened. So I just want to leave you with one question about Draymond is what player or what level of player are you ready for the Warriors to trade him for? Like, is it just Giannis or nobody else? Or do you think like there's...
that's a good question.
I heard chatter about Siakam and Maybe AD. That would be the funniest outcome if we trade him.
Yeah, that actually
Like
would be
Rich Paul just moving 2 of his clients across the state. But anyway, so that would be my question. I think trade him for maybe like a Siakam, but yeah, I don't know about Trey Murphy though. Like, yeah, I mean, I don't know how the trade would look, to be honest. But if it's Giannis, of course, I'm ready. But like below that, I'm kind of questioning. Maybe AD too, but yeah.
If it's for a all-star caliber player, so Siakam would definitely hit my line. Then I would be okay with it. If it's some version of a salary dump for future assets, then I would just be like, I can't do this. I can't do this. You know?
They're hoarding of picks.
No, I'm not like, look, I'm gonna be emotionally distraught. Like, I'm gonna have a hard time processing it no matter who it's for. But if it's for like Anthony Davis or Siakam, yeah, I get it. It is what it is. The cap is what it is. The CBA this is kind of one of those side effects of the CBA that I think really suck for me, because he should be a guy who just retires as a Warrior, but the Warriors are now stuck in a position where their opportunities to compete literally come down to if you're willing to move a guy who means something to you or not, right? So I think from that perspective, I get it. It's bittersweet because of how much he's meant to the team for so long.
And the way it's going to go down, that's the most bitter thing for me. That if that's the last game he's played. Sorry, Tom, you're saying.
No. I think the line's about the same for me. It's got to be an all-star level guy. Anything less than that, and obviously he's not the only one in the package. You're coupling that with something that probably is in there. AD or LeBron would be hilarious. You know, like Draymond just expressed a desire to want to play with LeBron before they finish their careers. And
do you think Rich Paul okays that trade, or like does he have a say in that trade if it's for AD, or like does it go down? Because I think he'll be throwing up some like stools if that happens, or like try to maybe not get that done.
I think it probably gets okayed. That they want AD in a better situation. AD's more of the priority client to clutch, and it allows the Mavericks to do what they want to. Now the Mavericks can tank in peace. You know what I mean?
I guess Dre and Clay can play together as well.
Yeah, there you go. I didn't even think about that. That'd be if there is an outcome to it, at least it's not all three guys in separate places. You get Trey and Clay back together.
That'd be weird.
Yeah. It would be weird.
Tosh, appreciate you, buddy. All right, let's get Tashan up here.
Do it.
Hey, how's it going, you guys?
I love the tagline.
So I'm just going to be as positive as possible, because I remember a tweet involving the Giannis situation where it's like, I'm going to be as positive as much as possible because I'm going to be saving all my hate stuff for after the trade deadline, because I think we're all just waiting the crash out, and it's like, nah, I'm just going to wait for it. But I think everyone is talking about Draymond as its last game, and I just want to say the game that I will always remember Draymond for is Game 6 of both Houston series, actually. It's like, but more importantly, 2019, because that was probably the funniest game in the world to me, because I couldn't necessarily focus too much because I was actually moving out of college during that time. And so for the time being, I was just like kind of moving out of my dorm, just kind of like seeing like, oh, what's the game on at my Chili's before I can just get back to the hotel before we can start to just like do the graduation ceremony. And it's like, not only Draymond was just like awesome in the pick and roll with Steph during the fourth quarter, it was also like him and Clay just like holding it down while Steph was just getting held by the rest and just having an awful first half. So I just wanted to say, like, that will forever be in my mind when I ever think about Draymond. It's like, you can hate him for as much as you want, but for when the chips are down, like everyone has mentioned, he was more than enough to be a pillar of this franchise.
He was incredible in Game 7 in Houston last year. You know, like from kind of the opening tip. He was great against Sengun all series. Like it's hard for me to narrow it down to one, because I really like people have gotten so revisionist with it because they hate him. And, you know, he's given people reasons to hate him. I'm not going to sit here and gaslight everybody listening and say he hasn't. He absolutely has. But he didn't make it. He is one of the 75 or so best basketball players of all time. And, you know, he's the very least just a rung below that, you know. So it'll suck to see him go, but I didn't expect this whole thing to turn into a Draymond swan song or Draymond farewell tour. But I'm not mad.
I wasn't expecting it either. I mean, I'm glad that Draymond's getting his flowers. I was ready to crash out about everything in general, but it's like, you know what? We deserve to have Draymond be respected at least before something happens. It's like, personally for me, I think nothing happens, but I just think that Draymond.
I mean,
that's what I said.
It's not a bad bet. I'm gonna be honest with you. It's not a bad bet.
Speaking of bet, like, what are we gonna do? It's like we've always promised, like the Giannis thing is like you have like the DEXA Scan sponsorship and didn't like promise to like run across the Bay Bridge and everything. It's like you have this sponsorship and didn't think of that. I'm like, okay.
All right.
But yeah, I appreciate the call, and I really just want to say thank you, Draymond, for everything, because he has been one of the most entertaining players in the Bay Area.
There's no doubt about that.
I mean, you watch the younger players in the league, and now I'm going to get into major old man, like yelling at the clouds.
Do it.
Who evokes the feeling? Like the Thunder are awesome. They won the title.
Shout out B Stu, by the way. He's starting to get entertaining. He's starting to fight people again.
But they deserve all the credit they get. But like, don't they feel a little soulless to you? Don't you not like feel the same thing? I don't know. He's 101. He's one of the greatest.
The
of all
league
time.
will miss Draymond when he's gone. Just like, no matter how you feel about him, you have everybody has an opinion on Draymond Green. Like, there aren't many people who are like, oh,
someone needs to be
leave him,
dude. Someone needs to be the villain, And it's just he's. Well, we'll see. We'll see where this whole thing plays out. It's a lot to process right now. Tachian, appreciate you, brother.
Thanks, Tachian.
I think we end it here. I think like, look, we're gonna be back tomorrow night. We're gonna be back repeatedly over this entire run, but we'll see where this whole thing plays out.
We will see, man.